Hello and welcome to A Better Planet. A better you, a better planet. I'm your host, April Rogers Peterson, and this is a platform for the next generation of leaders to trailblaze better finances, better relationships, and better health. And that's what we're talking about today is better health. Better health equals a better planet. And I'm joined by some amazing guests today, experts in the health arena that are going to share their experiences, they're going to share their stories, and hopefully you can glean some wisdom from that. So I think about my own journey and how I began, and it actually wasn't a journey of health to start, it was actually a journey of vanity. I remember I was 18 years old and I just left for college, and you've heard of the famous freshman 15, right? The 15 pounds that you gain that you didn't know you were going to have. Your metabolism, falls off a cliff, and that's exactly what happened to me. I had come in from a practice. I was actually part of a girls' club football team, and I looked in the mirror and I noticed I wasn't wearing pads, but I had some extra padding. I had acquired a J-Lo. And it didn't excite me, to say the least. And so that began my health journey, where I started panning through magazines and asking friends. And of course, today you can check all your answers online, but there's so much information out there. How do you know what applies to you? And so I'm so excited to hear from our incredible guests today about their experiences and their expertise. So let me introduce you to them. Okay, first we have Miss Jacquee Pope. She's originally from Salt Lake City. She's 25 years old, single. She's a brand consultant and a designer for a company called The Brand Influence. And what I love is that you said you went to college for a bit, took general studies courses, and then dropped out to travel the world and find yourself. I love that story! And I love it because if you haven't checked out some of our financial videos on whether or not to go to college, please check out the other forums that will help you make a good, solid decision. And then she started her company Brand Influence, and your health motto, you said, is true health lies within the balance of body, spirit, and mind. I love that. Thanks. Next we have Mariah Hick. Welcome.
Thank you.
Mariah is originally from Boise, Idaho. She's 27, been married the last 5 years, got a bachelor's in health science, has been a Pure Barre instructor.
Yes.
Am I saying that right?
Yep, Pure Barre.
Okay, Pure Barre. I took one class. That was the hardest class I've ever taken.
Super awkward too at the beginning.
But it probably tones up your J-Lo. She's now building a health business online called Blue Cactus Moon. And her health motto is the best healthcare starts with self-care.
Yes.
Beautiful. We have Erica Coder. Erica's originally from Alaska, 31 years old, married the last 2 years, got a bachelor's in nursing, and has worked in the medical field in some capacity the last 15 years. Currently is a home health and hospice nurse. She founded her company called Bold Rebalance. I love that name, which is an online wellness platform. And her motto is be bold and rebalance yourself. And then last but not least, we have Miss Vanessa Ferguson. She is originally from Idaho Falls, Idaho. She's 28 years old, single. She's been in marketing for the past 6 years and is a published model the last 7. She was recently featured in Old School Rods magazine, owns a social networking platform called Karyn, and her motto is inspire people to become the best version of themselves. So I just want to say welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm excited to hear your guys' journey and what you've learned. Maybe I can help myself a little more. Okay, so here we go. First question. How did you grow up thinking about health, fitness, eating? What was modeled for you? What were some of the messages that your parents either said either subconsciously or overtly? What were some of the messages about body image that you got from mom and dad, or maybe older siblings? What was that like growing up?
Well, for me, I grew up in Alaska. I was born in a village. I was the only Caucasian, light-skinned child in the village. And there were no roads in or out, low income for the majority of the village. So there was a lot of subsistence eating, but it was also supplemented with a lot of processed foods. So while there were people fishing and hunting to put food on the table, there was still also a lot of margarine, Crisco, Wonder Bread, things like that. Lots of mac and cheese, anything in a box or a can. In a cold climate like that, you just need things that are gonna preserve for a long time. Not a lot of transportation in and out. So that's kind of how the foundation started. Luckily, we did resource a lot of our own food, which was nice. Wow. My father was morbidly obese most of my life. Kind of like most families, worked really hard to put food on the table, and his health was sacrificed. And so without knowing it, that's essentially the example that they set. Not intentionally, but the positive alternatives weren't being taught. And we did our best. I mean, we grew strawberries, we grew what we could, but you're not gonna live on berries alone. And so when I was 19 years old, my father passed away from complications, but primarily as a result of his weight and the strain that it put on his body. Yeah, I mean, almost all of the really applicable health information that I know now definitely didn't come from childhood, didn't come from my parents. I love them. But yeah, it was a lot of self-discovery after the fact. So,
how about you ladies? What was the example you had growing up?
So my parents, love them to death. They did the best that they could, but the biggest thing for them was convenience. So my mother worked all day, my father worked nights. We would go from school to daycare and then home, and it was typically fast food. Pizza rolls, which were my favorite when I was younger.
Yes.
Pizza rolls, yes. Anything microwavable. I mean, that's the diet that pretty much I was raised on until I decided to go on my own journey in health, which was around 19 years old.
Did you get a JLo?
I actually did gain a freshman 15. Yes, I did. But, I mean, for me, my body is, like, naturally high metabolism. So, like, freshman 15 was 120 to 130. It was, like, major
She came back from Italy looking like this.
Yeah.
After 4 months of pasta and bread.
Yeah. I have a problem with carbs. They make me skinnier. I mean, it's not a bad thing, obviously, but yeah. So
how do we get someone else in this seat? How do we get that
problem? but yeah, I know. But it's not a bad problem at all.
No.
But yeah, so I was raised just kind of convenience was the biggest thing, and then having a very big disconnect with food. It was to make me feel good, like the way it tasted, the sugar. I mean, I was like the poster child of the American diet, I want to say. When I was 16, it was fast food every single day. Slurpees were my favorite. Sugar, crazy. And then things just kind of shifted where around the same time that I decided not to or drop out of college, I was working a full-time job, part-time on the weekends, and going to school part-time. I did a full-time or in a serious relationship and just decided this is not the way I wanted my life to go.
Sure.
So I kind of dropped out of college, went to the full-time job, and decided to move back in with my parents. And the boyfriend I was with just kind of wanted to our relationship was going backwards, and so he didn't really want that. So what I did is I decided to go to the gym and focus on health as a way to take up my time.
Sure.
And then slowly, as the years passed, I started to see, food is not only for the taste, it's actually for, like, fuel for your body. So, and then over the time, I'm one extreme or the other. I went crazy extreme bodybuilding route for about 4 years.
Wow.
I was 15% body fat for about 2 years of my life. But then, so then I just kind of traveled. I kind of had to re-put balance back into my life, and now balance is kind of my motto with everything. So
love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, next question. You brought it up, so I want to mention it. So what body issues do you think that women struggle with most, including eating disorders, addictions? How do you think that these come about? What do you think are good resources? Because obviously none of us are therapists, but in the last 10 years of coaching women, I would say half of them have an eating disorder.
Easy.
And so, what's been your guys' experience with that? Friends, like personal, whatever you would like to share.
So something that I will share openly is that growing up, my mother was very nitpicky at me. You know, my hair had to be a certain color of blonde. She wouldn't allow me to dye it, touch it. I could only put like peroxide on it and go outside, you know, do the M&M bleach. And as I got older and I started to develop and wear makeup and such, she was so nitpicky about, I mean, my eyeliner. If I wore eyeliner and I walked in, she was like, okay, cat eyes, wow. If I gained or lost any sort of weight, my mom was the first person to this day to always notice, and I'm not big, but she'll notice like 3 pounds. She'll literally, last year at Christmas time, it was crazy. I went home and she kicked me in the booty and was like, feeling a little doughy there, Ness. I'm like, I'm 15.5% body fat. What do you mean? Doughy? Skin color, tanning, clothes. She was very, I would say, and no offense to you, Mom, if you ever see this, kind of planted a body image problem within myself. I know now through personal development that it wasn't me, it was her. She would get at me for that. My father was always very, very protective over me. He used to tell me how beautiful I was, how pretty I was. He wouldn't allow me to go on dates and stuff like that because he was like, no, be careful, be careful. His sister, my Aunt Starla, I love her so much. She actually was I think the pinnacle in my life that really spun me in the right direction because she was healthy, she was successful, she had a beautiful family, and she used to always tell me, Vanessa, you need to model, Vanessa, you need to do this, you look perfect, you're great, you have, your hair's the perfect color, because my mom would nitpick at me and my aunt would take me aside and be like, no, everything's perfect, you are great, da-da-da-da. But I think that that followed me. I'm going to be honest and say I think moms plant that pretty early on. Maybe they try to live vicariously through us to some degree. And then let's also talk about social media. I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but the Kardashians, I think that so many women out there just aim to look like the Kardashians, and it's social media it has just discombobulated a healthy body image. Yeah. You know what I mean? It really has. It just really has. I think that is an epidemic. I think that people need to learn to love their bodies and who they are from the inside out, and just learn to maximize our bodies, maximize our features. We don't need to go out and change everything. I mean, think about it. Diamonds are expensive because they're rare, they're unique. We should be able to own our uniqueness and just maximize who we are, if that makes sense.
For sure. Yeah, and maybe broaden. I mean, I wish media in general would broaden the definition of beautiful.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's a single woman out there that doesn't want to feel and look attractive.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I just think it's sort of built in some way. Mm-hmm. But I just think the definition is so narrow. What is your health regime? So what do you eat on a regular basis? How do you work out?
So right now I start with the healthy morning routine. So I wake up, I either have a really good breakfast, typically filled with good fats, so like an avocado, and then a bulletproof coffee is my favorite, which is with butter and his MCT oil or coconut oil.
I love that.
Yeah.
So frothy.
Yes. Oh, I love it so much. And then I take my coffee outside and I sit in nature and get the sun on me for maybe, I don't know, depending on my mood, listen to a good podcast, sometimes like 15 minutes to 30 minutes. Sometimes I kind of fall asleep in the sun. Yeah. But yeah, so I do that, and then I get to work, and then my lunch and dinner consist of me cooking natural foods, organic vegetables. I did a amp coil session with Erica. I eat only greens right now, and her session was like, you need to eat more colors in your diet. I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely eating just greens.
What about like intuitive eating?
Yeah.
I remember I read a book, I don't know, 15 years ago called The Blood Type Diet, which was kind of my first introduction into these foods aren't going to make you feel energetic, they're going to make you feel sluggish, and so on and so forth. And I know there's lots of variations, that was kind of the beginnings, but what a resource for eating specifically?
So eating specifically, what I say is I would say a type of elimination diet. So kind of researching that and figuring out like gluten, sugar, stuff like that, getting all of the suspect foods out of the way that can potentially bring you down, and then slowly reintroduce them and see how your body feels. It's a longer process than most people think. Like, I wish there was like, oh yeah, you can figure this out, one resource, but everybody's body is different. Everyone's hormones are different. So you kind of need to go down to like what works for you. Like I said, I'm a crazy body where carbs, they make me lose weight.
Sure.
So certain diets work better for me versus, the keto diet, I've been on it before, it just doesn't work for me. Where I know people it works really good with.
Yeah, for me, really good.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like just kind of, I'd say start with the elimination diet, get the suspect foods out of the way, reintroduce them, see how you feel, notice, maybe do like a journal, kind of track and see how you feel like maybe 30 minutes to an hour after you eat. And then you can kind of go from there. Good input. Thank you.
How about you?
To segue off of that, I was thinking about if I was to recommend one food protocol, it would be Whole30. I love Melissa Hartwig, and I really appreciate all of the scientific research she did behind the program. What it does is, it is an elimination diet at first. You eliminate certain things, you see how your body does for 30 days, and after that you reintegrate. So it's more sustainable for a longer period of time. And the other thing I really like about it is it allows you to be an individual on your eating plan. And then also, I love organic, but I also believe that not everyone can afford organic all the time. Sure. So she says good, better, best, which is awesome because sometimes we can't always afford organic, but you can afford to eat spinach. So eat the spinach.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Let's segue into the next question. Thank you for bringing that up, Mariah. Is what would be some cost-effective ways for our viewers to be healthier, both in what they're eating, their exercise routine? According to USA Today 2018, 2 out of 5 millennial women are late on paying their basic bills. So they may be watching this and getting lots of ideas, but financially things are very tight. So what would you recommend?
I would kind of go with kind of what she said, do the good, better, best, and also meat. I've come to find that good quality meat I think should be number 1 on your priority list. So grass-fed, farm, free range, that should be the best, but it is the most expensive. Even when you are shopping at Walmart, for example, doing the cheaper route, meat still does take up a lot of your budget. So instead of eating meat 3 times a day, maybe cut it down to 1 time a day. And then filling up with vegetables. If you can't afford organic, do conventional. Just do what you can, I would say, is the best for working out YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a free gym.
I mean, you can find everything on there.
Totally.
So, definitely, that's my input.
Oh, I was going to say, I think a good first step is to become aware of what your goal is, where you want to be, and then start with something small that you can do every day that's a new healthy habit. That could be eliminating processed sugar. It could be eliminating those diet sodas you have every day. It could be incorporating 1 organic food a day, just 1, if that's all you can do. It's all about like building the habit. I would say that a couple of things that are really great for this journey to get you healthy is MyFitnessPal. I love MyFitnessPal. You can put your goals in there. It'll track your weight, give you your macros, meal plans. There's blogs in there. YouTube's an amazing resource. Outside of that, you can always search. There's so many apps out there that can give you kickbacks or coupons or discounts on shopping. Shopkick is one of them. I don't know if it's specific to I believe that there's grocery stores involved as well. And then in a lot of communities, there's farmers markets. Here in Boise, we have the grocery outlet. They have a whole aisle of organic food that's, very, very inexpensive.
Ladies, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Really appreciate you being here. Thank you for your input. And what I would say to those of you who are watching is each one of these incredible guests have their own businesses. I encourage you to check them out in the links below. And they are for hire. Their services are available. And so I would encourage you to check them out and look them up. Also, if you have someone that you feel like this video could help, send it to them. You know, if they're struggling with their health, be a friend. So here's how, this is how we're going to end today. So we're going to take our hands and we're going to give ourselves a big hug. And we're going to tell ourselves that we love ourselves.
I love
you.
I really do.
We really do. We only have one body, so we have to treat it well.
You really do.
And one of the things that I think really impacted me that several of you said was that real health begins from the inside out.
Big time.
And starts with how you love yourself, love your body. And so thank you for being here. And for those of you who are watching, thank you for your time. And remember, a better you is a better planet.